We're good now? Okay, Mayor Martin, we can start the meeting.
All right then, thank you. I'll call the meeting to order for Monday, December 21st, 2020. It's our final meeting of the year, and we've dealt with a lot this year, and by the looks of it, it's going to continue on into 2021. They keep saying that there's light at the end of the tunnel, but it's a long tunnel. So hopefully over the next few months, things start to come around a little better, but it doesn't look like it in the immediate future. So I'll remind everyone to put your phones on vibrate so it doesn't disturb the meeting. And I'll remind everyone of the declaration of pecuniary interest if it arises. We have minutes here from the council meeting, the regular council meeting, December 7th, 2020. I'll look for a motion to approve those minutes. Moved by Councillor Ellis with a comment.
With a comment, yes.
Okay.
Under the committee of adjustment, page 7, there's a motion that was moved by Mayor Ellis. I don't want anybody to get any ideas. Could we have that corrected, please?
Okay. All right then.
Through your rumor, Martin. That was just a rumor.
Yeah, I tried. So okay. So Councillor Ellis moved the minutes and with the corrections. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Pomeroy, all in favor? And that's carried. So we do have to go into committee of adjustment for one minor variance here. So I'll look for a motion to go into that portion of the meeting. Move with Deputy Mayor Giroux in the chair. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy and seconded by somebody? Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Giroux.
Thank you, Mayor Martin, members of council. I will now call this Committee of Adjustment meeting to order. The members of the committee have the requirements to disclose any pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof if the occasion arises. This public meeting is held under Section 4 to 5 of the Planning Act, and it's I can't find the word. And it's regulations. So we have one minor variance, as the mayor pointed out, minor variance A17-20, and I would ask Laura to give her report.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. The subject property is as follows. The property owner is William Reed. The municipal address is 41 Fire Route 84A. Roll number 1531000711900, lot 25, concession 3. The area is 1.05 acres. The zoning is seasonal residential. The official plan designation is shoreline residential, and this property is in the Methuen ward. The purpose is to seek relief from section 4.36 to permit the construction of an addition to a recreational dwelling on a seasonal residential property, having the following effect. To permit construction of an addition to the cottage located at 17.5 meters from the high water mark. The recommendation is that minor variance application A-17-20 for the construction of an addition located in the water yard be approved with the following conditions. That development be done in accordance with the site plan submitted, that any requisite approval be received by applicable approval authorities prior to the building permit being issued, that the property owners enter into a development agreement with the municipality to recognize that the development will be taking place on shoreline road allowance, which at this time is not owned by the applicant. And we went through this at council last meeting, that council was in general agreement with entering into this agreement, but not necessarily in agreement with the minor variance application. That a building permit be issued within 12 months of the approval of this application, and that my report be received. This application, as noted, is to permit an addition to an existing cottage located 17.5 meters from the high water mark. The addition will fill in a stepped back portion of the existing cottage while not bringing it any closer to the water than what is currently existing. As noted in my report, this application meets the 4 tests of the minor variance and is in keeping with the intent of the PPS and growth plan. It is my recommendation that this application be approved.
Thank you, Laura. So for the record, is the applicant present on our Zoom meeting this morning?
He is, yes.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition of this application this morning? Sometimes our network is a little slow, so I'm going to ask that one more time. Is there anyone present wishing to speak in opposition of this application? Hearing none, is there anyone present wishing to speak in favor of the application? Has the applicant got anything to add this morning? Hearing none. Are there any questions or comments from the members of the Committee of Adjustment? Mayor Martin?
Yeah, Laura, just looking around on the application and the one thing listed here is a guest cabin. You know, it sounds like it's really small, but I didn't see it in there's a whole bunch of things around the property, decks and things. I just wonder, the guest cabin, I didn't see it on there. Is there one on there, or is it, I seen a shed, but just wondering.
Through you, Mr. Chair, it's my understanding that yes, there is a guest cabin on the property. John Smallwood, the CBO, posted the notice for me. I kind of chickened out. It was a snowy day and I didn't want to drive up there. So he posted for me and took some pictures. But the lot coverage is not being exceeded with the proposed addition.
Okay, thank you. I just wondered there. I'm prepared to make a motion that we approve the recommendation here.
I'll second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Ellis. It has been moved by Mayor Martin and seconded by Councillor Ellis that this application be approved according to the planner. All in favor of that motion? Those opposed? So that motion is carried, passed. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you.
I'll now ask that the gavel be turned back over to the mayor and turn this public meeting back over to the Mayor Martin. I have a mover, Councillor Webb and Councillor Ellis. Mayor Martin, the chair is yours.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor Giroux. With that, we'll move right along here and move into delegations and presentations. And we have one scheduled delegation here, and it's from the Peterborough Humane Society with regards to the cat bylaw. Sean Maury, welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Mayor, members of council and staff. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, we've had some questions with regards to cat bylaw, and we thought it's best to reach out to the experts on this. So I did read your some of your report there that sounds like there is some options there.
Yes, definitely. And what I'll do is I'll share my screen so that the presentation can come up and then we can speak to it directly if that works.
Sure.
Give me 1 second here and I'll get it up and going here. So please let me know once you see it in your screen.
Yeah, it's there.
Second here. I'm just going to get the actual presentation. So thank you for the opportunity to speak with you today with regards to the cat bylaw proposal that's been brought forward. I know that there's been some questions with regards to how it would work, what's in it for the municipality, what's in it for the residents within the municipality, and kind of how we could put it all together and how the Peterborough Humane Society could assist in that matter. So in my discussion today, just going to really high level speak about what's in a cat control bylaw, how it could work within the township, why is it beneficial to put forward a bylaw that would assist with cat control, and then what are the costs associated. So what would be the service costs associated with enacting such bylaw and animal control measures. So it's really and truly, development of a cat control bylaw is for the health and safety of residents, as well as the population control of cats within the municipality. And it kind of depends on what your levels of palatability are with regards to that. Ways that the cat bylaw can be really advantageous is one, it allows responsible pet ownership and awareness within the residents of the municipality, as well as provides education to those folks with regards to what to and how to care for your animal, but also based on the number of animals that you would have within your household, and then also a licensing component. So there's an opportunity to provide licensing for cats, very similar to the way that your dog control bylaw is associated, to make sure that owned animals are being registered and being identified, but then also in the event that an animal does get misplaced from their home, there's an opportunity to get that cat back to their proper residence. As I said, the key elements associated with regards to a licensing a cat control bylaw is the licensing platform first and foremost for indoor and outdoor cats. It just allows for the municipality to stay and the residents to stay safe throughout and kind of reduce the amount of stray cats that are out within the municipality. As I noted within the cat control bylaw, ideally it would mirror similar to the way that your dog control bylaw is associated with it. So it's simple and accurate administration that really and truly just supports the residents and the municipality. And then also, a key factor to it is if there is stray cats out in the municipality, where would they go if they are housed or if they are captured? And that's where we would step in and provide those services for stray abandoned cats within the community, and as well as making sure that lost pets get back to their owners as soon as possible. How it would work, or conceivably how it would work, is we would develop the bylaw, obviously associated with fines and education purposes, and then also the licensing platform to assist with that. What that's done is twofold. It identifies an owner to the pet, but also I can identify the number of pets within the household, and just make sure that the levels and the numbers of animals within a residence are maintained. What that does is that cuts down a little bit on overpopulation within the municipality and provides safe and secure support for all those associated. Again, another focus, one of the big focuses is around owner education, just with regards to making sure that the responsible pet ownership is being observed at all times, that their animal, if it is an indoor cat, stays indoors, so that we are limiting the amount of exposure that could be associated to other residents, neighbors, so on and so forth. A big one is making sure that the animal is continued to be updated on their vaccinations on an annual basis, such as rabies. Again, major health and safety concern that would be associated with it. And then also through the educational component is healthy population growth through the promotion of spay neuter, which is just part of the educational process, so that an animal who is not spayed and neutered, especially within the cats, because they can reproduce so quickly with multiple numbers of litters. One or two cats within the household that are unaltered can really spiral out of control if they are male-female mixes, and then you get yourself into a situation that you can't handle. And what we would do is provide animal control officers. They would be contracted to support the community for any cat control concerns, any issues, calls, complaints, so on and so forth, and we'd be able to act accordingly. Some of the common concerns related to cat control are obviously cats at large. So the number of stray cats within your community, number of cats within a household. So from a standards of care and more so kind of a standards of support for those owners is identifying the number of cats that would be established within the household. It keeps everybody safe, and obviously from a health and safety standpoint, making sure that there's an accurate number is ideal. And also, the big one is if an animal gets out and is loose and it's a stray animal, there's multiple reports that we've seen from other municipalities around, just cat excrement throughout the township, and also within flower beds and residents' properties. That becomes a bit of an annoyance. So trying to support that in a safe and humane way. And then obviously there's the big call on community cats and feral cats within the community, and making sure that those colonies are being handled safely, not relying on a resident to try and take it into their own hands, because that's when things can happen and people can get hurt, as well as the animal can get hurt. So doing that safely and humanely it would be done through the support of the Humane Society. And then obviously, as I already identified, lost and found cats. Obviously that's a big piece of the component is you have your cat or kitten at home, and it's always an indoor cat, but that one time the door gets cracked open or left open is the one time that they seek refuge and take off on you, and then trying to get them back home to their rightful owner is always a difficult position if they aren't licensed, microchipped, or registered in any which way. It just makes it almost impossible. So how can we support that, and how could PHS support Havelock-Belmont-Methuen through a cat control bylaw? Obviously, as I identified earlier, being able to supply animal control staff to provide support on the development and maintenance of the bylaw, making sure that the community engagement opportunities are there, hearing from community members, making sure the complaints are filed and heard of, and as well, obviously, engaging with the community to try and support healthy regulation. Education on responsible pet ownership is a big one. Obviously, support through licensing, which is a huge component and something that would assist, obviously, just making sure that the numbers within the community are maintained, or at least identified, so that it's a good opportunity for us to work from. And then the big one is obviously fielding concerns and assessing and addressing bylaw enforcement as it's required. Another one that we talked about was obviously the handling of cats from stray. So we would be able to provide that support through safely and humanely live trapping any cat that's within the municipality that's in prohibited property. So if they're on a resident's property and the resident doesn't want them there, or they continue to come back to a certain area within the municipality that is not registered or not their own property, being able to safely trap the cat, either get it back to their rightful owner, or if they are a community or feral cat, being able to assess and support that notion. And really, again, it's for us, it would be supporting the community from a health and safety standpoint, making sure that the levels are maintained. If there is, community and feral cats, as well as your own cat that gets loose, just being able to provide that support system as we move things forward. With regards to animal control support, so what we would be able to provide from a regulatory standpoint is obviously an opportunity to provide support Monday through Saturday from 8 to 4:30, as well as after hours emergency support. So this would be utilized for animals that are, that have either hit by a vehicle or are malnourished and out in the community and need support after hours, being able to provide that. And then also being the impound services for cats at large, for public to drop off as well, for us to go out and support the community with regards to that. And what are the fees that would be associated with supporting that is an annual, or obviously would be a monthly retainer fee of $300. And then as impounding fees would be associated to it, obviously taking in stray cats within the community, $70 per cat for stray cats, $80 for after hours strays. And then obviously you see their officer response time, the response time for in-hour, for during regular work hours and after hours doesn't change. And then just the travel associated to it as well, to provide that support. 365, 24/7 towards the community around cat control bylaws. And that's pretty much my presentation with regards to, like I said, the ways that can be opportunistic towards providing a cat control bylaw, and ways that we can support Havelock-Belmont-Methuen with regards to it. And happy to answer any questions that would be associated to the presentation.
Thank you, Sean. I'll see if I can get that put back to the full screen so I can see everyone. And then I had a couple questions before thank you. Yeah, before I open up to council, I just had is there any municipalities around us that have a similar sort of thing agreement with you? Or I imagine you do this all over the place.
Yes, so with we do have a full animal control contract with the city of Peterborough, so both dogs and cats within the city. We are working with our friends over at the township, Selwyn Township as well. They're in the process of developing a cat control bylaw as well. So being able to provide that support, we've assisted them with their most recent bylaw revisions and update to their bylaws for animal control. So being able to support that, and then we'll be doing the same throughout the municipalities as need becomes available.
Okay, thank you. I think your common concerns slide there was, we have the same issues within the village mainly for numbers of cats and how many you're allowed to have in a household and those sort of things that we're going to have to deal with here in the new year. And it is a hard thing as far as you have the expertise as far as trying to take care of some of the issues that we have. And but I'll open it up to council and see what their thoughts are. But there is something needs to be done here. So go ahead, Deputy Mayor Terrell. You're muted.
The joy of two computers. Thank you, Sean, for your presentation. Well done. Lots of information. I enjoyed reading it. My question was similar to the mayor's with the municipalities that you do service and the number, for instance, the number of cats allowed in a household, is that a standard across the municipalities that you do look after? Is that a standard number? 5, 3, 10?
Yes, thank you for the question. And yet there's no real direct standard. I think it all depends on what the municipality is willing to host. General practice would be similar to what you would have for dog control. Again, to try and keep that consistency. So if there is a parameter that's associated with the number of dogs that are allowed within the household, what I've seen mostly with regards to the municipalities that we serve is 3. So it'd be 3 or 3 and 3. So maybe 3 dogs and 3 cats. The 3 cat idea is such, and then also some parameters around if you have more than 2 cats within the property. Obviously, spay neuter is required moving forward.
Okay, thank you for that. The other question I might ask is in your the fee scale. I live in the country. I used to live in the village, and when I did live there, there was a lot of cats, and there was a problem. I don't think that it's something new. It's been there for a long time. However, here we have cats. We don't own cats, but there are cats around. We see their footprints in the snow and so on and so on. They don't bother us. So I guess my question is, in the village, I don't know who owns these cats. Maybe nobody owns them. So when you go to somebody's home and trap a cat that is not wanted there, and there's no owner to it, who pays the bill then?
Yes, a great question. If the cat itself is trapped and it is an owned cat, then the owned cat, obviously the owner of that cat would pay for the impound services fees. If it is trapped and the cat is not reclaimed whatsoever, then those fees would be associated to the township for the services that are being provided.
Yep, understood. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor Martin.
All right, thank you. Is there any other questions? Go ahead, Councillor Ellis.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor, I apologize. I had to shut down there for just a minute. I had hydro here. They were going to shut hydro off. So it would have been really black here. Anyway, I didn't hear the first question, and what I was concerned or going to ask, are there other small municipalities in our surrounding area that have your service?
Yes, so as I was saying to Mr. Mayor, that we do provide animal control support to obviously the city of Peterborough as well as as 4 municipalities within. So we are providing animal control services mostly for dogs for Selwyn Township, Trent Lakes, North Kawartha, and Duro-Dummer. That is predominantly for dogs. We are working with those within those municipalities to strengthen those bylaws and include cats within them. More specifically, Selwyn Township, we are working on a cat control bylaw with those folks as well. yeah, so we would be able to provide full service through all of our support.
So presently, there's no other small municipality that has your services for cat control.
Currently, no, but that is good. That is changing with Selwyn.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions for Sean? Seeing none. Sean, yeah, well, we're in budget right now, and this is probably something that can be referred to budget, and we can look into it here. Councillor Pomeroy, you did have a question? You're muted. You were muted there, Barry.
I would just like to make a motion that we receive Sean's report for the time being.
Okay, and refer it to budget, or?
No, just, we're gonna have to have some discussion on this before we put it in budget. So I
Yeah.
just like to receive the report.
Okay. All right. So Sean, you're going to second that, Larry? Okay. And thank you, Sean. You do have some numbers in there that we'll be able to work with as we move through the budget process anyways. And it is a problem in Havelock-Belmont-Methuen that needs to be dealt with. So how we deal with it, we'll see how things move ahead. But you do have a good plan here, and I'll be interested to see how it goes.
Okay.
So thank you for your delegation there, and Happy New Year.
My pleasure. Yeah, happy holidays to all of you as well. Thank you.
Thank you. I don't see any other delegations scheduled. Is there any in the waiting room there, Bianca?
No, that is it.
Okay, thank you. So we'll move into staff reports for information. We have 5 reports here for information. If there's no questions, I will take a motion to receive. If there's any questions, go ahead. Anybody got any questions with regards to that? Seeing none, I'll go ahead, Larry.
This motion to receive the report with a comment. It was quite noticeable. The number of medical calls seemed to be a little lower, and you would have expected maybe with our COVID situation, it might have been a little different, but it appears to me that the medical calls are lower, which is good for the fire department.
Yeah, it looks, that's October and November's reports from the fire department. So hopefully it'd be nice if it keeps going that way. Barry, go ahead. You're muted.
Yeah, on fire calls. I see there's a timeout, but there's no time in. It would be kind of nice if we knew how long that each fire, you know, how much time it takes up.
Okay, we can make note of that, Bob, and ask the chief about that when you see him. Councillor Webb?
Yeah, I had a question on Wendellin's report for the COVID.
Okay,
Under fire, there's $45,000 for additional expenses.
okay, Wendland?
That is the expenses, for example, the laptops, et cetera, to work from home. Those are the expenses for COVID. They're just listed under the emergency management section in fire.
Okay. All right, so that's for the whole township
Yes, the whole township.
under the emergency management portion. So
Yes.
it's under fire. Go ahead, Larry.
Thank you, Wendland.
Okay.
Kind of to add to Councillor Webb's comment as well. So is there any of that cost being covered through COVID? Or did
Yes.
that-
So this spreadsheet is the costs that will be covered under the COVID grant that we received from the province. So it's a combination of expenses that we incurred because of the COVID, also revenue losses because of certain areas of the COVID in different departments.
Okay, well, I see it. Thank you. I see it now. I'm just getting caught up here on my laptop, so.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, Hart, go ahead.
Can we get a breakdown of that? Like, of the 45,000 in terms of which departments used it and where it went?
Yes, I can provide counsel with that going forward.
Thank you.
Okay, and with regards to the grant, there was a couple different grants that came out, and one of them is no good for capital, and the computers would be under capital, so that'll have to be addressed here in the near future, is what we can use those grants for and put them in their proper category. I know the new one that just came out is for 2021, I think, and that should help us with some things with regards to ice rentals and things like that in the operating side of things. The capital one is the one that we're going to have to work on here to try and make sure that we can allocate and try and get some of that back. So, okay. So is there any other questions here with regards to the staff reports for information? If not, I'll take a motion that we receive that. Moved by Councillor Webb. Seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Next, we'll move into staff reports with follow-up action. And I'm going to catch up here too, but the first one is Laura with regards to a stop up and close. Hello, Laura.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So this is a request from Marnie Frieder, the property owner at 558 Peninsula Road. There is a diagram in council's report showing which part of the unopened municipal road allowance she's interested in purchasing. As you can see, it does not lead to water, so it is eligible for sale according to our policies. I did list a number of conditions that would have to be fulfilled, but I do recommend that we permit Ms. Frieder to move forward with her purchase.
Okay, thank you, Laura. And looking through that, I'm kind of familiar with the area, and the only question I had or comment would be to make sure, as much as it doesn't go to water, just make sure we cover all our bases as far as anybody else using that road allowance to get to their property. There's several cottages along there that at one time it's close to there that some of them were crossing properties, and I'm not sure if it's there for sure, but that's just the other part of it that we got to make sure before we go any farther on this. I'll open it up to council. Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Giroux.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. Thank you, Laura, for your presentation. My question is similar, Laura, to Mayor Martin's. Back in the early 70s, Peninsula Road was just a winding tractor trail or wagon trail. At that time, there was no Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, it was Belmont-Methuen. So they went in and the township went in and rejigged the road and actually didn't stay on the road allowance. So there were property owners who had a road forced through them. And at that time, the trade-off was they give them property behind the road allowance that they didn't own originally. So maybe this where it comes in, but we want to double check that we're not selling a piece of property that actually belongs to someone else. So I just ask that you be very cautious moving forward with this, because I know firsthand that one property owner had no idea that the road was changed till they come on the weekend, and then they had a road through their property. So not being able to come into the offices regular because of COVID, I don't have a map on my wall to see exactly where 568 or 588, whatever the number is there, is on Peninsula Road. But I know there's 2 or 3 spots that actually happens. So we need to be very careful that we don't sell something that has been given away.
Sure. So through you, Mr. Mayor, what we could possibly do is if council is agreeable, to agree to proceed with the purchase with amendments to the condition. And I'll have an amendment put into the condition, just noting that if there is access through that property, that it is still deeded to the parcel of land that is using the access. I don't think that there is, from speaking with Ms. Frieder, I don't think that there is access to any other cottages through that parcel, but we can have that added in. The train is trying to block me out.
I know it's blocks me out twice a week. So that's fair enough for me. I just want us to be cautious. That's all.
Of course.
Thank you.
Councillor Ellis, go ahead.
Just not to prolong this, but I thought by what Laura, our planner, had supplied, it indicates that that issue is not an issue here with the road directly behind this property. So I don't think that that would be an issue, but it's best to be wise in doing what Laura said. I'm just referring to the good mapping that Laura had supplied. Thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree. And that if that can be added into the recommendation, Laura, that would just better safe than sorry. We don't want this to come back at us later. So if it can be investigated and make sure that there's nobody accessing the property from that road allowance, that would be good. So I'll look for a motion with the amended recommendation there, moved by Councillor Ellis. Your seconder. Looking, no seconder, okay. Dave, seconded by Deputy Mayor Giroux. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? And that's carried. Okay, thank you, Laura.
Thank you. And I think that's it for me. So Merry Christmas to everybody.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Laura. I just want, Merry Christmas, Laura.
Merry Christmas, Laura. Happy New Year.
So, okay, so the next is the county sign bylaw. There was a little bit of things there that Bob had to look into. So go ahead, Bob.
I'm through you, Mayor Martin. I'm still distracted by Santa. I'm not sure.
I know, eh?
So through you, Mayor Martin, County Council has endorsed a new County of Peterborough sign bylaw, and county staff have requested feedback from the township regarding the sign bylaw and as it pertains to election signs and signs on private property. So this report provides two resolutions that deal with each of those issues and suggests that our township will be happy to administer those issues.
And this is a good thing as far as it puts us in control more of our own area instead of leaving it as a blanket with county. So it's one of those things that, well, election time was really obvious that it always doesn't suit everyone. So anyways, so any questions or comments from council? If not, I'll look for a motion that we go ahead with Barry.
Yeah, so this on private property, this is going to have to be approved by our CBO.
Yeah.
Is he going to have to bring back some figures on how far away from the road allowance and et cetera, you know, we got to have some kind of guidelines to tell people, because I had them before, and you got Peter there to answer some of the questions for me, and
yeah,
I guess we're going to have to do something on our end now.
Yeah, that's it puts it more into the hands of the townships and the CBOs and all the townships. So is John there? Did John have any comments with regards to this? Oh, I'm looking at the wrong screen. You showed up somewhere else. So.
You're muted.
Good morning, Mayor Martin. Bob and I have talked about this. Most municipalities do have a sign bylaw that would give us the rules that would have to be followed for signs. And we've discussed coming forward with a bylaw early in the year that council would have an opportunity in the public to look at and see if they're in favor, and then move from there.
Thanks, John.
Okay, so it's something that was always an issue, and there was quite a bit of time spent on this at the county to try and come up with a better plan. It does put a little bit more back on the municipality, but it's something that probably would be, it would suit our area or the individual areas more to have their own bylaws. So most of them will be similar, but anyway, so there's two motions here, or two resolutions. Bob, can we do them under one?
Through you, Mayor Martin, I think we should handle them separately, just to provide clarity to the county.
Okay, so the first one is the election signs, that the township would be responsible for that. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy. Seconder, Councillor Webb. Questions, comments? All in favor? And that's carried. And the next would be the signs on private property resolution. Councillor Pomeroy, mover. Seconder is Deputy Mayor Giroux. Questions, comments with regards to that? Seeing none, all in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. Next, we move into the clerk's with regards to the council meetings for 2021. I did talk to Bob over the weekend about a couple of amendments to kind of go along with the county plan that they have, and it was a matter of adjusting our June and July meetings to eliminate the July meeting and moving our June meeting to the end of June instead of in the middle of June. So it tightens things up. It would be the same amount of weeks in between meetings, but it would just free up the whole month of July. And then the other one, the question was with regards to December 21st. We're doing it this year, but there's a lot on the go. And what it does there, talking to Bob, is there won't be much in our January meeting, because by the time reports come in and everything, it's totally up to council on that one. But it was just to clean up the June one. It was more for Dave and I, as far as that's when the county takes its break, and it allows us to have the same break as the county without having a meeting in there. So Bob, go ahead, and then I'll open up to council.
So through you, Mayor Martin, just a clarification on the coordination with the county meetings. So the county has 2 meetings in June, and our calendar currently is showing 2 meetings in June as well. The county has spread theirs out a little further apart. They have no meetings in July and 2 meetings in August. So our current proposed calendar is showing 1 meeting in July and 1 meeting in August. So it all breaks down to the same number of meetings. The county's having 2 in August and none in July. And we are proposing 1 each in July and August. So that's the one difference.
Yeah. So all I was saying there is the meeting that we have on the 15th of June, moving it to the 29th of June. And then it would just free July up. And then August, we have a county meeting on August 4th anyway. So you could move the township one to the 3rd of August or whatever but we can leave that one. It's just to free the July one up is what I was looking at. Totally up to council, but it would help a lot to make it a better summer. So otherwise we have meetings with the county in those other months. Go ahead, Dave.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. Yes, I totally agree with the no meetings in July for HBM, because of the county, we don't get a break of that month for meetings. Besides the fact, I'm hoping that COVID's over, and I'm missing our Lake Association meetings. I missed them this summer. I enjoy them, and if we're back to them, hopefully in 2021, I'll be attending July meetings anyway. So for me, it would be nice not to have any scheduled council meetings unless there were emergency meetings in July. That's my take.
Yeah, you can change it if you need to, like as far as if an emergency pops up, but as far as it is right now, it just makes it for a little easier time in the summer. So any other questions or comments or thoughts on that? Larry, go ahead.
Just a quick comment through you, Mr. Mayor. I understand what's trying to be accomplished here regarding the county and the township meetings, and that's great, and that's what we should try to accomplish. However, saying that, we need to still focus on HBM business, and if it's a required thing to have a meeting in July, then we should by all means be doing it.
Okay.
Or August, either or. I know we have meetings set, but to just push our meetings aside, I don't think that's a way we should do things. We need to focus on HBM business. And again, it's nice to be able to coordinate meetings with the county. And again, that's what we should do. But I think we should always have HBM focus for meetings. Thank you.
Yeah, it still does that. It still has the same amount of meetings. We could even have 2 in August if you like. It's just the one in July, but that's up to council. Go ahead, Hart.
Yeah, I agree with Larry. We're here to do a job. All right. If you guys have plans and need to take vacations, you're allowed to miss meetings.
Yeah.
All right. Fine. But we shouldn't be shutting council down here. I don't like, we should probably just stop talking about this because I don't like the way this is heading.
Okay, so motion to approve what's the staff report then. Go ahead. Who's got a motion there? Go ahead, Barry.
I got a question.
Yeah.
9 a.m. start. Has anyone checked with, say, Bianca that tries to set all this stuff up in the morning? You know, she's usually still scrambling at 9:28 in the morning, sometimes 9:30. So that's just one other thing to think of. I don't know whether it's a concern or not. Bob, you would probably know more than I would, but I mean, I'm just.
That's why we should go to 5 o'clock would work better.
Well, you seem to be handling everything so far at 9:30 and that hasn't been any problem. So I'm just wondering if it's still.
Yeah.
Is it feasible to start at 9:30 if we have to, or can we get it at 9 o'clock? You know,
Yeah.
like there is a setup time. She comes in at 8:30 in the morning. It's and I see from what's going on right now that she's still scrambling at 9:30. So I'm just wondering if that's going to be a problem. If it isn't, well, I can go along with what's there.
Okay.
Bob, can you find out?
Bianca, the 9 o'clock start, does that cause a problem? And
Through you, Mayor Martin, I can address. Obviously the extra half hour does give us an opportunity to deal with any technical issues that arise. However, if it's council's preference to meet at 9 a.m., we will make that work.
okay, so Hart, you go ahead, and then we'll just get a motion to we can amend the time if need be. I like the 5 o'clock at night, so go ahead, Hart.
Well, I'm the one that suggested 9. And I don't know, I'd be willing to move it back to 9:30. My biggest thing is just the way the meetings drag on. So if we're gonna do that, then if you want to put a curfew for 12 or 12:30, where the meeting ends, that's fine. But too often here, we're carrying on meetings for 4 and 5 hours. The meetings could be done in a couple hours. So, you know.
That's right, and that's how we can deal with it, Art, as far as we do have a thing there where we have to do a pass a bylaw to go past the curfew. We can stick to our curfew and we won't be going past 12 o'clock, so, or 12:30. So that's fine. That makes total sense, because you're right, we're dragging these on too long. So go ahead. I thought I seen it. Larry, go ahead.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to echo Councillor Webb's comments. And that should be in the amendment to make sure that at 12 o'clock we're done. And I think it'll force us to watch how we manage our meetings.
That's right.
The other comment I'd like to make, if this is going to be a bylaw when it's amended, Should we be referencing at some point, at some point, we're going to be doing video meetings, or they're going to be captured by video? Should that be referenced in our bylaw, as well as, are we going to be allowing virtual meetings when we're back in council chambers?
Yeah, it's already in there, Larry.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Bob.
Is it?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, council has previously approved video meetings, so all meetings will definitely be video recorded, currently through Zoom, and when in-person meetings resume, we will be video recording our meetings.
Okay, so that is in the bylaw then? If it is,
Yes, that decision has been made. That's correct.
thank you, Bob.
Okay, so I'm looking for a motion so as presented here if you want to amend the time to 9:30, if that helps Bianca out, that can be done, but I'm just looking for a motion here with regards to this.
Motion to approve the recommendation with the amendment to the 9:30 start.
All right, so do I have a seconder?
Sorry.
Second to that, Councillor Pomeroy?
Yeah, with a question, too hard. We'd still be finished at 12:30.
Yeah.
Yep.
That gives you time to get the kids off to school and,
No, yeah, no, I got no problem with 9:30. That's not a problem. Like I said, it was the times and the dragging on. So
Yeah.
9:30 to 12:30, no
Yep.
problem.
And one other thing with that, with the Tuesday meetings, it's hoped that the council will take the opportunity to go in and see staff instead of bringing it to the council meeting. There's a lot of things can be addressed before we get to the meeting, and the Tuesday should help that. I know I spent probably an hour on the phone with Bob yesterday. That won't be needed anymore when we move to Tuesday. So anyways, that should speed the meetings up and we won't be wasting so much time here. So I have a mover and a seconder. Another question there, Larry, go ahead.
Just a comment without dragging this on, just to make sure everybody is aware that you can get an electronic version of your minutes or your agendas on Thursday. Bianca usually sends it. I get it on Thursday. So in case somebody is not aware that that's available, it just gives you a head start to look at your agenda. Thank you.
Good. Okay. So all in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Next, we have an ownership of road allowance. Bob, go ahead.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, this report is further to the fact that the township has been approached by Mr. Murray Watson to confirm ownership of a road allowance. This issue dates back to June of 1998, in which this road allowance was transferred to Mr. Watson, but there was some confusion regarding the paperwork. That is now all being looked after, and this report and the accompanying bylaw will confirm the transfer.
Okay, thank you. What's council's thoughts there? We have a recommendation there.
Motion to
Go
approve
ahead.
the recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Ellis moving the recommendation. Seconder? Deputy Mayor Giroux with a question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. Bob, the question was asked some time ago. This road allowance only pertains to Mr. Watson's property, and I'm not sure from fence line to fence line how long it is, and that has absolutely nothing to do with it. But I asked the question some time ago, beyond Mr. Watson's property, do we still own that road allowance?
You, Mayor Martin, yes, it is my understanding that beyond that road allowance, we own that road allowance. Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder on this. All in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Next, we have board appointments and committee appointments. So Bob, do you have anything to add to this?
Through you, Mayor Martin, this listing confirms the conversation that was held in closed session at the last regular council meeting regarding board and committee appointments.
Okay. What's council, or look for a motion to approve what's as written? Go ahead, Barry.
I got a question first.
Sure.
This Deb Haig or whatever her name is for municipal investigator of Ontario Wildlife Damage Program. I thought our new bylaw enforcement officer was going to look after this. I could be wrong, Bob. Can you?
No. No, through you, Mayor Martin, no, we've had no discussion with our bylaw enforcement officer regarding this role. This is a separate and distinct role from committee appointments. We had a brief discussion with our bylaw enforcement officer regarding dog control, not wildlife claims.
Okay, now how many times a year would we have the wildlife damage?
You never know.
Well, this is why I'm wondering, because we're paying somebody to come from Millbrook. I don't know whether we'd still be paying the WSIB and you know, that's and mileage and a flat fee for to get here.
If it helps any, I have talked to a couple of farmers in the area, and she's doing a great job with regards to the wildlife and some of these claims that have went through. It's a pretty cheap thing for what she's doing. It's totally out of the realm of the bylaw enforcement officer. So if we're going to go out and look for somebody for this, we can always do that. But go ahead, Bob.
Through you, Mayor Martin, there are very few claims in a year. We may get 3 or 4.
Okay, I was just looking at the efficiency side of it. Maybe we have someone on our, you know, local within HBM that could do this job.
Okay.
And are we still paying the WSIB? I'll have to ask Gwendolyn that. And what other benefit? I don't know what's entailed here, but maybe you could answer that, Gwendolyn.
So yes, the WSIB is paid for dog control. So for the livestock compensation, the average maybe 1 per year. We just had one recently. Also, we get reimbursed $30 from the province for the cost of the person going out and doing the livestock evaluation. And with livestock evaluation, it is quite intense of training to understand the different predators, etc. So it's not just a matter that you can just get somebody to do it. They have to be specifically trained with livestock.
Okay, Larry, go ahead.
You still didn't answer my question. Is she still being covered with WSIB or any other benefits by being?
For dog control, yes, but
Yeah,
when she does livestock
Okay, just hang
investigation,
on. I thought we were getting rid of the dog control. We're looking after that on this end, right? Did we not make a?
I don't know about that. But I can just answer that on livestock evaluation, it's a volunteer position, and it would be covered in your insurance, but it's not WSIB. Your WSIB comes in when she does dog control.
So there's 2 things here, Barry. You're talking about dogs and wildlife, and Bob, did you talk to the bylaw enforcement officer about dogs? Because I don't know who pays for his compensation, but I sure wouldn't think they would cover him to go after a wild dog. So
Through you, Mayor Martin, we had a very brief conversation with our bylaw control officer with respect to the possibility of engaging in dog control. No decision has been made on that matter. It was a very brief conversation, and it is something that we certainly can consider going forward if we feel that that's a logical move.
So can this be broken into two, Bob, as far as the wildlife part of it and the dog part of it? Because we did have a presentation here today from Peterborough that they do dogs. So we might be able to go with them and tie it in with the cat bylaw. So just a thought.
Okay, through you, Mayor Martin, this particular report deals only with the livestock valuer and is not referencing dog control at all. This is an appointment that in the past has been made with our committee appointments. And during our closed session meeting, it was recommended that this be broken out as it is not a committee. This is an individual appointment that serves when needed. And typically it's 2 or 3 times a year. So it was suggested that this appointment be separate and distinct from committee appointments. And it was advertised, and we're certainly open to, if anyone local applies and wishes to do the job, we can have more than one livestock valuer on our roster, and we're happy to receive those applications.
Okay, Larry and then Barry.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. As far as the wildlife evaluator, livestock or whatever it is, that used to be, as CAO Bob is indicating, used to be a committee. I sat on that position before I was on council. So you don't have to have a lot of training. All you do is you're an investigator if there is a situation. You take notes and you follow the paperwork. And I would be in agreement with Councillor Pomeroy. We need to sit and firm up a conversation with our bylaw enforcement gentleman. He's on board to do the dogs, as well as talk to him about doing the wildlife. If it's a 1-2 thing time of year, it kind of sounds like we're loading up this bylaw enforcement guy with a number of little things, but they are small items, as is indicated here, 1 or 2 calls a year for wildlife. So I would like to see this firmed up with our bylaw enforcement guy. If he's interested in doing the dogs and the wildlife, that would put them into this discussion, really.
So let's pull that part of it out of there, Bob, as far as the evaluator, and we can pass the rest of it without that in there, I think, because there's a lot more to it that council's not understanding. So we need to talk about it more going forward as far as the livestock evaluator part of it. I don't know whether he could come to somebody's farm and evaluate their loss, because I don't know whether he knows what things are worth. So there's a lot of things around that. When you lose a cow or you lose something there, usually it's somebody that's in the know with that sort of stuff. And that's what I heard from the farmers that I talked to, that she was doing a really good job. And I think that's why she does the rest of the municipalities in the county, is she knows her stuff. So let's pull that part out of it and let's move on with this, Bob. If we can have an amended motion here to pass the boards and committee, or the committees. Go ahead, Bob.
Sorry, through you, Mayor Martin, I would suggest that we proceed with the appointment for the time being, and we can continue to pursue the other in the event that there is a livestock claim that needs to be processed. It would be helpful to have somebody currently appointed. We can still address this matter going forward in a different way if we choose.
Okay, is that okay with council? It can be adjusted if you have a better idea. So, okay. So I'll look for a motion that we approve the recommendation here, or the board and committee appointments. Okay, moved by Councillor Ellis. Do I have a seconder? Deputy Mayor Giroux with a comment? Okay, all in favor of the motion? And that's carried. Okay, thank you. Thanks, Bob. We'll move into correspondence and action items. And so we do have a couple of action items, and the one is the Royal Canadian Legion Partner in Safety and Health, or Safety for Health and Safety Initiatives. So I'm just trying to, okay. So Bob, do you know anything about this, or?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. We did make a contribution to this item last year in the amount of $200.
Okay. All right then. So what's council's thoughts? Go ahead, Barry.
I'll make a motion that we do the same this year.
Okay, moved by Councillor Pomeroy that we put $200 towards this initiative. Seconder, Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. Next, we have, this came back because of our last meeting, because it came kind of quick, and since then, it's already gone through the province, and they are moving ahead with it. It's received royal assent. So I think it's just for information here, and we'll just receive it. It's already been through everywhere else. So moved by Councillor Webb that we just received this piece of correspondence again with no follow-up. Seconded by Councillor Pomeroy. All in favor? And that's carried. So next,
Moving right along.
what's that?
See, we're moving right along here. See how quick it can go?
Yeah. So next we have the draft budget from Crow Valley. And it's that'll be coming up in January. As you can see, it's a 1 point. I can't get to the number here quick enough, but anyways, they worked really well there. There's so much going on in the Crow here these days that it's this is one of the reasons why we were trying to reach out to the government about all conservation authorities aren't the same, and Crow Valley is, as much as we have issues as far as some of the things that we deal with, they're doing a really good job down there, and they brought it in at, I think it's 1.5% or 1 point, which isn't a lot of money. It's that's one of those ones that you don't look at the percentage, you look at the amount of money it is, and it's bare bones. In fact, it worries me because I think they took some of the hit on the wages of staff at 0.75% cost of living when everything I've been involved in is 1.5%. And this happened one other year. We kept letting them slip behind, and then all of a sudden we have a big hit in the end with a huge increase for wages to get them up to where they should be. So that was the only thing I seen in it. Go ahead, Councillor Ellis.
Yeah, just quickly here. I don't see anything in their budget where they refer to COVID funding, and I sent a little blurb to Wendland last week to see if she knows if they are allowed to or have applied for any COVID funding, which would affect their budget. And then the other question is, in their budget, it refers to special projects, and it's a fair chunk of change there. And I was trying to find in their budget what special projects are.
Usually they go around dams and repairs and things like that, and they've lumped them in together.
It references those kind of things in their budget, but it clumps together. It doesn't say what it is, just say special projects. And again, it's quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
Quite a bit of the budget.
So last year they spent 58,000 on special projects. This year they have 38,000 budgeted. It's usually with regards to repairs around dams. I know they have stop logs and things like that in the budget, but it's like I always say every year, it's bare bones. There's not a lot in here. And there's going to be a lot of things come out this year. Like you say, COVID, it's not in there as far as I don't know whether they received any grants. So
there's a few little things that, I don't know whether at one time we used to have Tim Pettit come and he could answer questions about his budget, but for an example, membership increase in members' expenses almost doubled. Again, it'd be nice to have Tim Pettit come, and so myself or anybody else on council wanted to ask those kind of questions he could answer, unless you have them.
No, that's open for the beginning of the year. Our next meeting is at the end of January, so we could try and squeeze him in if he can fit time in, because I'm not gonna, there's a lot of stuff that I can't say about as far as operations down there, but there's a lot going on down there as far as staffing and sickness. So, but he could try and come, we can try and make arrangements for him to come at the first meeting in January, and council can ask questions. He's open to that. Him or Kathy Redden could come. Go ahead.
Well, I'll just leave it open. Maybe other councillors don't have any questions, and if I'm the only one, well, if he's a busy individual, you know, I can get the questions answered without bringing him, but I thought other council members would appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah, so we should, somebody make a motion that we just receive this for today and see if we could get Tim to come, because we do have time. We could get Tim to come at the first meeting in January, and council can ask some questions. So that's moved by Councillor Webb and Barry. Are you seconding it, or did you have a question?
I might second it, but I got a question first.
Sure.
I know it's a 1.56% increase, but did we contribute to this back when we were going to fight it in court?
No, that's gone.
Is it gone? Did it go?
Yeah,
to-
that
did it
got
go to
used
all
last
the
year.
municipalities?
That got used last year. So this year we're working on the province. Instead of the 120,000 they used to give, now they give 60,000. They cut us in half there, and yeah, there's going to have to be some things happen down there. So, so are you seconding that motion then, Barry?
Yeah, I'll second it, but I just had that question.
Okay. Yeah. So that'll be a question you can talk to Tim about if we can get him here on the first meeting of January. So we have a mover and a seconder that we receive this report, and we try and get Tim to come to our next meeting. All in favor of that? And that's carried. Thank you. And the rest is for information. If there's any questions there, you know, go ahead. If not, I'll take a motion to receive the balance of the correspondence. Moved by Councillor Webb that we receive the balance of the correspondence. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Ellis. Questions, comments? All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you. So with that, we'll move into liaison reports. And sorry, I'm trying to catch up on the second computer here. So anyways, we have staff reports here, liaison reports, and there's a number of them there. It's been a real busy month. I'm lost here on the computer, sorry. Okay. So we have here Councillor Ellis, the Chamber of Commerce update. Sorry. Do you have anything to add to that?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, just briefly, Chamber of Commerce are kind of trying to put together some information, and I suggested to them that they come as a delegation, or one of them, two of them, to a council meeting through a virtual meeting as a delegation, and they could bring forward some of their plans and lots of information that I think council would like to hear and appreciate their efforts. Tracy Bertrand, who is a liaison as well, is back on the scene now. There, and she's a good plus. She's a local resident, so she takes a local approach to some of the issues through her Chamber of Commerce, her economic development, sorry, and tourism. So she's a real plus there. And I've suggested that they put together a little delegation and apply to come after the first of the new year. I made them aware that our budget is still ongoing until the first of the new year again. So it gives them some time as well. So I'm looking for them to come to council as a delegation. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we had Deputy Mayor Giroux on there with, we had a number of meetings with regards to county and the township. I don't know whether you had anything to add to that, Dave? Okay, and with regards to mine, same thing. I've had lots of conference calls. If anything out of COVID, I was saying to Bob last week that I don't think anybody's had a weekly meetings with our MPs and MPPs. It's been going on for 10 months now. Almost every week we're in touch with them, and you know, a lot of the stuff we hear on the news, but we can get some details too, things that have come out of that. Dave and I did a code of conduct meeting last week with the county, and I got looking at our code of conduct, and I think we're going to need to update ours. Long overdue. In fact, I was actually looking at it last night and thinking it was 2013. So I think in the new year, we're going to have to update ours. And the person that did the report at the county was amazing. Lots of good information. And the portion that's missing off of our code of conduct is social media. One thing that came to the highlight there, as far as anything we post, even on our personal sites, social media is a big thing, and we're responsible for everything we put on social media. And we always have to remember that we're representing the township when we do that. So, and the other thing was with regards to reiterating the part about who we are responsible for, and our only employee is the CAO. We aren't supposed to be going to staff. There was some things brought up as far as how we deal with that. So I think ours is long overdue. We need to update it. And I think we did talk about going with the same one that the county has. And I think it would be a breath of fresh air, and we would be it would be a lot better. He's our integrity commissioner and does the whole thing. So I don't know whether you got anything to add to that, Dave, but I did miss some meetings last week when our internet was down. Some of these meetings, they come the day before, and we had no internet or no email from Tuesday. And when they all came in on Friday, I missed 2 or 3 meetings because of no notice of them. I had about 40 or 50 emails come in on Friday night that there was three meetings in there. Like most of them were like Zoom meetings that I missed. But Dave, if you have anything to add to that as far as the integrity commissioner and the code of conduct, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Martin. Yes, I certainly would recommend the gentleman that did the county. And as much as we might not want to sit through a code of conduct, I think it's the onus is on the mayor and the deputy mayor or staff to make sure this happens, because one of these days we're not fully informed. There's going to be problems, and then you'll be able to say, well, nobody told me. So I think this is very, very important, and we need to get it done the first of the new year. Along with the server that went down, it did cause problems. I think in the future, if the server goes down, I think somehow by phone or something that council should be notified that that server goes down. We were in the middle of quite an interesting boat, I will say. I didn't know I didn't have any server. I didn't know I had any computers. We went through 2 weeks or 3 weeks of training to get this done. And I'm sitting with my arms folded, nothing's happening. I get the emails that I was supposed to get on Wednesday on Saturday. So I think a heads up would have been suffice. So in the future, when it happens, I think council should be aware of it. Thank you.
Okay, so, all right then. So Barry, go ahead.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Mayor. The code of conduct, I know that you and Dave have seen the county one and you'd like to adopt it, but I think it should be tailor-made for our own township too. Like we have to have some input. There might be some things in there that we don't agree with. So I think it's probably going to take a wee bit of discussion.
Yeah, yeah, that's why we need to look at it early in the new year, and some of the things that you might think that you can change, they should be in there and we should be abiding by them, because otherwise there's some really good stuff. So let's just leave it for the beginning of the new year and let's move on here. It was just a report. So motion to receive the balance of the activity reports, I guess, would be good here.
Motion to receive, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moved by Councillor Ellis, seconded by Councillor Webb. All in favor? And that's carried. So next we'll move into, we have no written or oral notice of motion. So we'll go into new business, and I have some listed things there. And basically what this is coming down to is after the news comes out today, it'll just reaffirm that we need to tighten some things up here again. And some of the things that I've been talking to Bob about for the last couple of weeks is with regards to we've been holding closed sessions, and we've had a few committee meetings in the council chamber, and we're borderline on distance. So the plexiglass in the council chamber needs to be looked at if we're going to continue meeting that way. Face masks are going to be mandatory through the whole meeting because of the distancing. And the one other thing that was in there, and it doesn't have to come up today, but beginning of the new year, we really need to look at a strategic plan, because a lot of things that were on our other our priority list are already being dealt with and should be moving ahead early in the new year. We should be able to take them off the list, and we should be able to look at where we're going to finish out the term. So it was just a thought there for council to think about over the holidays. But if we could take a lot of things off the list on our priority list that we had at the beginning of the term, and relook at it to finish the term out, that would be recommended on my part. But these other things, Bob felt better if council would speak up to these things, as far as it's not just me saying it, but I think we need to address how we're doing things, because I think it's going to be a long 3 months here to get through this next little wave here that's happening. So everybody's got their own opinion on that. So I thought we'd bring it to this meeting and see what council's thoughts are. So has anybody got any concerns with plexiglass idea? And go ahead, Larry.
Not so much about the plexiglass thing you want to install there in the council chambers. There's maybe ways, rather than putting that type of thing up on our council table. For an example, I was told that the Lion's Den is going to be vacant very soon. And again, I haven't been in that Lion's Den in years. I don't know how large it is, but if it's a larger facility or a facility that does have Wi-Fi, we could separate some, so we're not as close for social distancing, for an example. But I'd like to comment more on how our HPM staff are operating, and I think we need to step back into the precautions that we took before, both at the municipal office as well as the roads department. We need to keep people separated more, do the same things as we did when we first started this ordeal. It's worse now than it's ever been for our municipality. And I think we need to step back and do the things that we were doing from the very start. Some of the staff at the municipal office work from home. We've bought them computers so it can happen. And again, at the roads department, this thing is worse now than it ever was, especially in our own municipality, because when this started, it was just a rare occasion if you heard so-and-so had COVID. That's my thoughts. I think we need to take a firmer step or step back and do it the way we were, put the rules in place again.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments there? Like I say, the plexiglass was just something to help us if we want to continue to meet in person for closed meetings or others. The den isn't any bigger than our chamber. It's actually smaller, I think. So I don't think that would work for that. But Hart, go ahead, and then Dave.
I understand what we're trying to accomplish here. I'm not into turning the council chambers into some kind of antibacterial cubicle, which is, I think, what we're getting at here. I think we've been operating pretty good for about 8 months, the way we've been doing it. I understand there's angst and a little bit of fear in terms of the numbers are rising and whatnot. Yes, we have been lucky here in HBM, but I don't see need to deviate kind of from what we've been doing. I think we're reacting a lot to what we see in the media, the fear that's being put out there. And we've taken precautions. We all wear masks in there. I'm not really into sitting into a meeting for an hour or two with a mask on my face. I don't know about the rest of you, but I don't feel very comfortable sitting for any period of time talking to somebody breathing with a mask on my face. So moving forward, if that was to be the case, I would like closed sessions to be back either on Zoom or in some other forum, because, you know, I don't feel comfortable sitting in a meeting for an hour or two with a mask on my face. So.
Okay. Dave, go ahead.
Well, I certainly respect Councillor Webb's discussion, that he doesn't feel comfortable with that. And I certainly understand that. So he'll have to understand when I'm not comfortable with sitting in that meeting room without a mask on. And so that's my position on that. And I fully understand those people that don't believe in this, and I respect their decision, but they're going to have to respect mine also. And I need to feel safe or I won't be there. Simple as that.
Okay, so moving through today's meeting, we do have a closed session meeting today, and all I ask is that find a comfortable mask to get through this meeting. And in the new year, we're going to have to relook at how we're doing things. I was looking at the city, and I've talked to other municipalities around the county. Masks are wearing through the whole meeting, and they have plexiglass up. So that's where this came from, that we try and have a little extra precaution. And if we want to go back to Zoom meetings, the big thing in closed session that we have a problem with is trying to make sure you're alone during a closed meeting, because they are closed, and that's why we do them. There's some things that can't come out. So if everybody's comfortable at going back to the Zoom meetings in closed, you have to be sure that you're alone, and if not, you'll have to go over to the office or somewhere and find a room that you can be alone. So anyways, go ahead, Hart.
No, I just like to say, like to Councillor or Deputy Mayor Giroux's point, I understand what he's saying, but I understand that you're doing the same to me in terms of asking me to wear a mask. I understand you're concerned about not getting sick, but you're making me do something that I don't do normally. Okay, I don't normally walk around with a mask on my face, Dave. I'm 47 years old, I never have. So you're asking me to do something. I understand it's going to make you feel better, but in terms of me, it's not going to help me in terms of doing my job here, being a counselor and trying to, you know, operate these meetings effectively. So I don't appreciate when you say that you're not coming to a meeting because, you know, you're afraid that I might give you something, because I feel the same way. I don't want to come to a meeting to wear a mask because I'm not going to feel comfortable.
And I do respect that. Believe me, I do. And that's why I'm saying, if we're not all comfortable with what we're doing, I'm not, and you're not, then there has to be another way. We won't think negative, we'll think positive. If this isn't working, council needs to have our indoor sessions. We need to have our closed sessions. Figure out a way. If we can do it on Zoom, as the mayor said, we will have to guarantee each other with the other closed door meetings that are happening. The mayor or whoever asks, are you alone? Are you alone? Are you alone? And that's the way it'll have to be. And I don't oppose that. So I think we all have to have that comfort zone. you have to have yours and I have to have mine. And that's why I respect anybody else's decision. All I want them to, in return, respect mine.
And
Thank
that's
you,
good.
Deputy.
So Larry and then Barry?
I'm kind of in agreement with what's being said here regarding going back to the Zoom meetings. I know it's a little lost for the word like Dave was. You know, you have to make arrangements. Now, most times in the previous Zoom meetings at my house, I either was here by myself or I found a location where it was communication to me and to my council. It's a little bit of work of organizing that kind of thing. But it's either that or find another location to go to if you can't be alone at your home for the Zoom. So I'm in agreement. And just a quick comment on the masks. As you know, most of our closed session meetings at the chamber, because we were social distancing, I removed my mask because I have a problem with my lungs. And I found that the HBM masks started to create an issue for me. So yes, I would take my mask down, but I felt that I was distanced enough from either Councillor Hart or Bianca, who was sitting to my left. But going forward, I will wear a mask. But saying that, there are different types of masks that I'm finding the C195 or whatever they were called, are a little bit easier to breathe through, or there's the opportunity to wear a shield. Now, this is a shield, doesn't have to be Santa Claus. I just wanted to put that out there. But
Okay.
Anyway, I'm in agreement if we want to go back to Zoom, take some organizing, but.
Yeah, I think that's an option. So go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, well, we're on the topic. I'm not in favor of Zoom. You already take up hours of time in my household here, where my wife usually leaves, and then you have to. I'm going back to what Deputy Mayor Giroux mentioned here back a while ago. You know, you're infringing on my, not only my rights, but my wife's rights too. For she has to leave the house. No, this is our property, not HBM's, and there's not enough offices down in the building down there for everybody to get down there and get on a computer neither. Maybe a larger center. What's the matter with the arena upstairs and the Lions? You know, the big floor where we could hold a meeting.
Okay.
Why?
We'll discuss this in the new year because we don't want to go past our curfew.
Just a question, but why are we changing this when nothing's really changed? Like
A lot
everything's
changed. The numbers, when you're locked down this afternoon after.
like what?
The premier is locking everything down there. The arena is probably going to be closed. Everything's going back to the way it was in March. By the looks of the regulations that
I understand, but the case numbers in our area really haven't gone up, Jim.
Don't matter.
Yeah, so anyways, there is rules, and we got to go with what most of council is comfortable with. So I think like Barry said, we'll have some discussion in the new year. We'll get through today's meeting, and we're going to have a new look in the new year until we get through this, because this is serious. Everybody can take it the way they want. I totally agree. And if we have to do Zoom meetings, Barry, and we could find different spaces for people, I don't know how we're going to do it, but it'll be a good discussion in the new year. I don't want to carry this on any longer. We got one closed meeting after this, and we'll move into the new year and we'll come up with a plan, because I told Bob that I'm not comfortable in that council chamber the way it's set up right now. So if Zoom's the option, that's what it'll be. But we got a long summer ahead of us. This isn't going away until, this is probably here till who knows when. It's not going anywhere.
Hold on. That's what. Why are we saying stuff?
I don't want
like
to
that?
debate this.
Well, just don't make a comment like that, Jim. Don't go and tell people it's not going away for a long time. You don't know that. All right. I don't know that either, but I'm not going to go out and say that. We have too many leaders out there saying things that they don't know. Okay. Don't make a statement that it's not going away for a long time. That's just going to bring more fear and more anxiety to people. Okay. Yes, maybe we know that, but you as a
Not
leader
going
should be making
anywhere.
that
I'm
statement.
sorry, Harp. Well, I'm just telling you what I'm hearing from the medical officer of health, and it's not going anywhere in January. So
There's a lot of
let's
people
say
that don't
that.
agree with the medical officer of health, Jim.
I know, but some people more do than don't. So let's just leave it at that. Deputy Mayor Giroux, if you want to just receive this report.
Just one last question in regards to the plexiglass. Would we have to require wearing mask if we had the plexiglass?
I'd have to check into that. I just noticed the city is still wearing masks and plexiglass, and so is Otonabee South Monaghan, from what I understand. But I'd have to check into that. So let's just leave it for the new year. As far as it's concerned right now, there's no more closed meetings until we sort this out. So let's leave it at that.
Motion to receive.
Motion to receive this report. Seconded by Councillor Ellis. All in favor? And that's carried. Thank you, guys. It wasn't meant to be argumentative. It's just we're going by the numbers. And so anyways, we'll move on here. We do have some bylaws here, a number of them that we'll address right now. So the first bylaw here is disposition of lands described as part of Lot 6, Concession 9, Geographic Township of Belmont. Councillor Ellis? You're muted.
We still do have a little bit of time here. I was kind of watching the clock. Under new business,
Oh, sorry.
I'd just like to talk a little bit about an item. First of all, Councillor Hart-Webb and myself, along with staff, have put together the grant for the Matheson property, so that was submitted, just so council is aware. The other thing is I had the opportunity to sit and visit with a conservation officer by the name of Mike Duncan. And the conversation was around illegal hunting in Havelock-Belmont-Methuen, Belmont-Methuen in particular. This thing is rampant. It's been going on for some time. Back in July, August, I had a conversation with a couple of prominent hunters here, and they were the ones that made me aware it was even happening. At that time, I wasn't aware. And during the hunt season, I was informed by a neighbor that there were hunters on my property hunting, and a lot of it's illegal. It's illegal if they step on your property, first of all, but some of the illegal stuff is at nighttime. So I had quite a conversation with him, and what he is asking is if anybody sees anything suspicious. A lot of these guys are driving along country roads, stopping, looking, sometimes at night with lights. So if you see anything whatsoever, there's a tips hotline that he would appreciate some help. He's working diligently trying to control this. He has fined some, and some of the conversation or the rumor was it was a lot of Aboriginals, and that's not true. Not saying that that's not happening in the Methuen area maybe, but he's looking for some help. And so I'm not sure, I'm gonna refer to Bob. If our website can reference the M&R Conservation tip hotline, would be some help. So if people see something, that it would be a way of trying to get some information out. So I'm going to ask Bob if that's a possibility on our website.
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin, absolutely. We will ensure that it's there.
Okay, I'll give you the information later on, Bob.
Perfect.
Thank you. So that's all I had. Thank you.
It's a good point, Larry, and it would be good to advertise on there. I'm sorry, does anybody else have anything under new business? The only other thing I had on there too that was kind of buried in one of the discussions I had over the weekend with Bob was about reinstating the state of emergency. Kind of afraid to say that right now, but in discussions last week, a lot of them didn't lift the state of emergency. We did. When we seen things come close to home again this weekend, it put the fear in as far as staffing and snow plowing in particular. I have great concerns as far as if this went through the works department. We are working on a plan to try and keep up on our service level, but there's a great possibility if it went through a department like that, we have no snow plows. So state of emergency doesn't really solve the problem, but it reminds people that we still have issues here. And so anyways, that's just something that I was gonna bring forward as part of the other discussion, is something to look at. So go ahead, Larry.
Well, I'm just trying to remember, there were benefits to the municipality by having the state of emergency. Can you refresh my memory?
Yeah, there was some things as far as any grants or things that came out, but we're not going to take it lightly and do it just for the sake of doing it. That's the stuff that we're looking into as far as the benefits, or if it needs to be, because a couple of municipalities didn't do a state of emergency and they seem to be getting the same funding and stuff. So yeah, so we're not going to take it lightly, but we wanted, if it's worthwhile, if it's going to help us in some of the things that could happen, that would be the only reason, but not just for the sake of doing it. So.
Well, I didn't mean just the sake of doing it. I knew there were some benefits, and I would maybe refer it to CAO Bob for a comment.
You have anything to add to that, Bob?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. Implementing the state of emergency essentially has two factors to it. Number one, it sends a message to the community, if that's the message that council wishes to send regarding the importance and urgency of the matter. The other element to it is the fact that it does allow the municipality to access resources should they be required in order to maintain the township's business.
Okay. So it will be a discussion over the next few days here, and I'll keep you posted as far as where we decide to go. I just wanted to let you know that it's cropped up again. So anyways, that's it for now anyways. So I will be talking to Bob later on about it and see, and like I say, we're going to talk with our neighboring municipalities that didn't do it and see if it's really needed. So so anyways, we did receive the new business, and if everybody's okay, we'll move into bylaws. So, and our first bylaw was with regards to the Aon property there, the disposition of the land, to help us move forward with that project. So, motion to go ahead, Councillor.
Motion to approve the recommendation, Mr. Mayor.
Motion to approve, Councillor Ellis, seconder. Deputy Mayor Giroux, all in favor? And that's carried. The next one is to authorize an agreement with Aqua with regards to bylaw 2020-062. Moved by Councillor Pomeroy.
Question.
Question, go ahead.
Has everybody read it? No,
Yeah.
they haven't. There's too many questions that, for to be answered, but you pretty near need a day to read this in its own. But saying that, I had a couple of small things. But the one big thing here that we have, we've asked for an E of A for the water and sewer, for the sewage treatment plant. I wonder if they've applied for that yet for us. I know they were working on an EA for the lagoons, but we still have to cover ourselves with the treatment plant. So I would maybe ask Bob that question if they know whether they've applied for an EA for the plant itself.
Bob?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. So the environmental assessment item is not part of the agreement. However, I am informed by the Ontario Clean Water Agency that yes, they have commenced the process of applying for the environmental assessment.
Okay, thanks, Bob.
You're welcome.
Okay. So do you have any other questions with regards to it, Barry?
No, I think I'll just leave the rest of it for some time when we're meeting with Aqua, like we always used to meet with them, you know, when we, under normal circumstances, but we can't do that now, and I'm not going to take up a whole bunch of time with some, you know, with questions that can't be answered today, so it's, I'll leave it at that.
So do you want to move the bylaw then, or? Okay, moved by Councillor Pomeroy, seconder. Anybody want to second that? Councillor Webb, all in favor? And that's carried. Okay, the next one is the bylaw for the meeting dates and as amended. Mover for that bylaw. Councillor Ellis, Councillor Pomeroy, all in favor? Carried. And the stop up and close and convey as amended. Do I have a mover for that? Deputy Mayor Giroux, Councillor Webb. Any questions? All in favor? And that's carried. Next, the boards and committees. I think there was some, we can deal with it the way it is, and we'll, I'm sure there'll be some more questions afterwards, but as it is, and we can look at changing it a little bit as we move ahead. Moved by Deputy Mayor Giroux. Do I have a seconder on that one? Councillor Pomeroy.
With a question.
Yeah.
We haven't filled all the positions on some of these. So is it going back out for, in the paper?
Bob?
Yes, through you, Mayor Martin. That is correct. We did not fill all of the positions on the Economic Development Committee. That will be advertised in the January edition of the Havelock Rail, and it will be on the Township website.
Thank you very much, Bob.
You're welcome.
Okay. Sorry, so the next one we have is the appointment of Deborah Hay for the other part of it there, I've lost it too, the livestock and wildlife evaluator. Deputy Mayor Giroux moving it. And the seconder, Councillor Webb, all in favor. And that's carried. And bylaw to authorize the, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, the bylaw to authorize the mayor and clerk to enter into an agreement for the Autonomy Region Conservation Authority for their provisions in the enforcement of part of Clean Water Act. Is there a mover there? Perry? Seconder? Councillor Webb? Any questions or comments? All in favor? And that's carried. And that's the end of the bylaws. So we did really good time here, guys. Must be Barry's speediness here. So we'll, the confirming bylaw here. Does anybody want to move the confirming bylaw? Deputy Mayor Giroux, the seconder to the confirming bylaw, Councillor Webb, all in favor. And before I adjourn here, I just want to wish everyone on here, Donalda, thank you for everything you're doing. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. So thank you guys for everything here, and I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Councillor Pomeroy is moving it and Santa Claus is seconding it. So that's Councillor Ellis. Thank you guys, all in favor. And that's carried.
On behalf of everyone that's on there, I would like to wish them a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year, because some of them I won't see. The rest of you guys will probably see this afternoon. What time?